we'll be talking about literally how to secure API keys, API integration. The room is not that big, so I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Okay, please, let me use my natural voice. Okay, so to move to the contest, if the slide can come up to the next section. Okay, so I'm Atuoha Anthony. I'm a software engineer, but I'm mainly focused in mobile development. And I'm also a Google developer expert in Flutter and that. And I have 2 roles, but the one that is in the paper is the one at Fit Company. So I work as a CTO there. The other one is the one I'm using to buy Pampers. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. So the problem is that API keys, the security, everything that has to do with API integration, and every single thing that has to do with API is actually what the problem is. Put it this way, we have backend engineers here, right? Backend engineers here. So I transitioned from .NET to backend to mobile. So I still write backend code. And one thing you can realize is that when you publish an API, or let's say you write a code for authentication, which all of us do, right? And you release it out. You give it to the mobile developer or somebody that writes React, and they make use of it. Is there a way you can know when that API key or when that API is being consumed by somebody in Singapore? Assuming there is no any ghost eye or any location whatsoever. Is there a way you can know when it is being misused? Is there a way? Is there a way? Outside you knowing the traffic, let's just say, put it this way now, Christian is in the front row, and Christian built an API for authentication, and it's meant to be used by Zainab. He sent it to Zainab. Zainab went to Cafe One and connected to the public Wi-Fi there, and possibly somebody what's your name, please? Dara. Dara hacked her Wi-Fi, got possibly the tokens or whatsoever he needs to access this particular API Christian developed. Is there a way Christian can know that whoever is accessing it? I don't mean multiple, what do you call it? I don't mean multiple or surge or something relating to that. When there are thousands of requests that Christian will now know, hey, somebody is accessing this with multiple devices. Is there a way Christian can actually know it's no longer Zainab that is using it? Is there a way? That's exactly what happens. So that's what the problem is. So what we can do is, we know what the problem now is. The question now is, how can we now solve it? So whenever you build, so we'll be focusing on the mobile side, because that's what the contest is. So whenever you are building mobile apps and you're integrating API keys, when you do it in a way that this API, this APK or IPA that you push to Play Store or App Store, whenever you push the code out. Okay, okay, amazing. So whenever you push it out, what you're pushing out is the binary. You're pushing out the APK or the IPA, right? And as both of us go through tons of interviews to get a job, we'll prep, we'll stay late at night, we'll do DSA, we'll study things we can't even remember after the job. We do all those kind of stuff, and then possibly we now have a call with the executive, and then the young man will just be sipping coffee while you are discussing about your life. I don't know if you had an executive call. Yeah, you've gone through all of the whole drama, you've studied, and you've done lit code that you don't even understand. And then you've reached the executive call. Then the young man will be sipping coffee and say, what's that your name again? And then after that, you now get the job, and then you push the code. You'll be writing code, you push it out. The same way you're going through that stage, watching Udemy courses to be a good developer, is the same way somebody in Pakistan is learning how to reverse engineer your app when you push it. That's the problem. And when you push an app, that's why I hate it when I'm building an app and we're on the early stage and then you're doing publicity on Twitter. You're telling people, hey, there's a new fish, prepare. And you know how social media managers do, right? So when you push an app, you know the app is shaky. And then they push it on Discord, one Discord server like that. You see 1,500 people signing in at the same time. They say the server is down, right? So what the problem is this. When you push the app out there and people get access to it, most people don't just download it. Most people use tools to reverse engineer the app. To check if they can find the Gemini key. If you're on GitHub, type OpenAI on the search bar, you see some OpenAI keys that are public. Some people, I'm serious, some people push it like that. And most of these people are people who are working in companies. Type Gemini key. I'm serious. Type Gemini-API key. You will see it. So most of these people are pushing theirs because maybe there is no billing account for the profile. Do you get? Most of them have billing accounts. The two companies I work with are AI companies. And we use heavy, what they call it? We have our billing on OpenAI and Gemini is heavy. In the sense that if I give it to you, you won't get to see anything like you've reached your limit or something relating to that. Imagine if that API key gets to the wrong hand. What they will do is they'll sell it on the dark web, maybe for $50. Yeah, $50 subscription for a year, $20 safe. They'll sell it on Skype group. Okay, Skype is not existing again. On Discord server, that's how they do it. They'll sell it. On Telegram, exactly. They'll be selling your company API key, and then when the month is over, what you get to see is that from people getting a bill of, say, 2,000, you'll be getting like 15,000, and you'll be wondering. This happens with Google Map. I've worked in boat riding, ride-hailing company before I left. So before I joined, their Google Map billing, Google Places, geolocation, they were getting 8,000. They just launched November. I joined them around March. They were still in beta. They were like testing. They don't even have real drivers. And they were getting 8,000 USD. Imagine if they now go into full production. Who can chest 8,000 USD? How much are you making? So what people do is that they carry Google Map key and put in Android manifest and push it out. Yeah, that's what everybody do. That's what I used to do before. And then you feel like there's a dummy out there who doesn't know that all of these things you are doing. A hacker is just like a developer like you who is not writing code to push to the public, but is finding a way to penetrate apps. You know, right? Hackers are more better programmers than us. You know, right? A black hat hacker or any kind of hacker is a developer, is a more better developer than you and I. I'm very honest with you. So whatsoever thing you think, the same Udemy you are watching is the same Udemy they are watching. So let's move to the next slide. So see what the problem is like. So I talked about APK, decompilation, reverse engineering, and man in the middle. One thing you need to understand is that the same way you build apps for security, the same way you build apps, and when you build it out, you have this mindset that everybody that is going to make use of it is somebody who actually loves this particular product we are building, right? No. Some people actually, when you ship an app, I don't know if you've done it. Somebody push an app and you saw one feature that you like. You do inspect on Google Chrome, right? You want to see how they did it. Most of the times, you start seeing most of the tiny stuff they did, right? You'll be like, how is this guy doing this thing like this? Most of them even left print statement of the API key they are getting. Maybe they encrypted it, and then when they are decrypting it, they printed it to know if they are getting it, right? Most of them forget it and commit it like that. Yeah, it happens. It has happened to me before. So it's not like something that happens to only junior developers. It can happen even to the best of us, right? So one thing you need to understand is, how can we now prevent some of these things to happen? So let's move over to the next slide because we don't have a lot of time. Okay, so the strategy one is securing the app. So when you are building a mobile app, so I will talk more on the back end, but we'll focus more on the mobile. So you don't hard code API keys. You know, it's very easy. Even when we use encrypting and decrypting algorithm, most of them don't even work very well. You know, right? I don't know if you've experienced it before, right? One thing you always get to hear is that we are encrypting it using this length of string so that it will be hard or it will take time for the hacker to get it. I don't know if you heard that statement before, right? Have you heard it before? So I'm using my string length. What I'm using to encrypt it is longer. So it will take the person like 2 years. It doesn't take them 2 years. Let's be honest with ourselves. It doesn't. It doesn't take them 2 years. So the same way we use all of these utilities, even you and I, whenever we are even encrypting or decrypting, we don't even write the encrypting algorithm ourselves. We use public libraries. I use public libraries. Imagine you have you have your PM assign the task to you, or your engineering manager assign a task to you that you're meant to do in 2 days. Let's say you're doing something, you're consuming an API, and you're telling the person, hey, I'm taking 1 week to write encryption algorithm, and then I'm taking the next 2 weeks to write decryption. I don't know if it makes sense, right? You lose your job. So we use packages that maybe one Indian guy built. The Indian guy that built it might be building it in a cyber cafe, and then the next person is just when he wants to go and take a shit or a poop, somebody else will just copy it. So the person knows exactly what you are using. That is it. The person knows, they know that I'm a Flutter developer, so we encrypt. What do we use to encrypt? I don't even know again. So we use a package to encrypt, a package we did not build, right? Maybe we use a method to encrypt, a method we did not use, right? And even if we use Flutter Secure Storage, or use keychains, or use whatsoever, these are things that have been existing. Go on YouTube and type how to reverse engineer an app, or how to like pull out, when we push apps and encrypt, it comes in gibberish, right? And there are no like a lot of methods or a lot of ways you can use to encrypt. It's like a known something. The only thing is that it takes somebody time to do it, right? So if I hire, I don't know if you've seen an Indian cafe before. Have you seen an Indian cafe? They'll be like 1,000. Have you watched Silicon Valley? Have you watched Silicon Valley? When they pushed an app and they wanted the app to get more users, they were like 1,000. I don't know if you've watched Silicon Valley. You see where they have like a hub where when you come in, you just log in and you open the app. It will be that the user is active. That's how it is. So all of them will be doing it too. They get exactly what it is. And it might come as if it's something that is not important because we are building for Nigeria. But when you work for an international company, when you know that this product is something that not people in Lagos use alone, people in Sweden use, people in China. Chinese are more crook than us, right? People in Indians use. A lot of countries use it. That's when you pay more attention to what all of these things you are doing. So I mentioned about hard coding, and that thing is obfuscating your code and strange. This is something all of us don't do on the mobile side. When you are done building an app, it's not like when you are pushing it out, whether you do it or you don't do it, your app will run very well, right? But why we do it is that when you are writing or you are building an app and you have like strange constant, say token. Let's say a backend engineer gives you a token every time you log in. That's how it works, right? And this token is meant to expire. And anytime you are sending an API request, you pass in the token as maybe, let's say, a query or anything whatsoever, right? On my own, I will just write, I'll have like maybe a singleton, I might have a class, and I'll call it app constant, app strings. And then I'll have like a static method that whenever I call app constant dot token. That's how I used to do it before. So the guy that will reverse engineer your app will know that this string token is actually where the code is. So you've given the guy, it's just like me telling you my password. My password is symbols, is 4. So I'm just giving you every single thing, right? So when you do something like that without like renaming it, without obfuscating your code and strings, once the guy reverse engineer, everybody can reverse engineer apps. If you want to reverse engineer app, go to YouTube and search it. Once you have the APK or the IPA, you can. There are tools. The same way if you've been a web developer, you know about those days, Hectic Tracker. Who knows Hectic Tracker? Yeah. Goodness me, you guys did not do anything though. Download Hectic Tracker on your Windows system, get a URL of a website, put it there, it will download all the whole website. It will download all the whole website. But it won't download the backend. It will download all the whole interface. That's what fraudsters use to clone websites. Whether it's, I don't know, but we did it those days, I won't lie. We did those days we are doing web development. When you want to learn how to build, they give you, in our bootcamp those days, they will give you MTN website to go and build. And these people, they want to stress you. Just go to Hectic Tracker, put it in, then you submit it the next day. So that's exactly, that tool that is cheap. Imagine if somebody is doing hacking for a profession and is using it. I have 2 kids, and I'm using it to feed my family. I will pay $1,000 to download. Do you know? I can pay $1,000 a month to get something that we use to be bypassing apps. You know, right? You know, right? People that do fraud invest a lot of millions of dollars just to hijack government fund. You know, right? If you've ever had, I study computer science, and I know a lot of us study computer science, so I don't hide this fact. Most of the folks I graduated with, we are fraudsters. Tons of them, thousands of them. They used to call it, they used to call it tools. Tools. When you want somebody to do one stuff like that for you, they'll tell you the tools is $1,000. So you pay this amount, right? Have you heard it before? Yes. That's exactly hackers. That's exactly how they pay for it. To download the app. If you download maybe the installable, the EXE or the DMG for Mac, they will install it. You enter premium. That's exactly how it's like. That's exactly how it's like. So let's go to local secure storage. Even local secure storage, most times doesn't even work. But if you want it to work, you can use keychains for iOS or use encrypted shared preferences for Android. So what matters, the main goal I want us to leave the section with, because the section is not like It's not like one lengthy section like that. Is that whenever you are building APK, whenever you are building API, either from the back end or you are utilizing it on the mobile, you should make sure that you have a lot of things that you think about. What if this thing gets to the wrong hand? How do I know when a particular device is making use of this, maybe outside our jurisdiction? Let me be very, very honest with you. In our back offices, if you are building a fintech app in our back office, we don't have any place. I know when I said it, everybody said it's a lie. We don't have any place where we know the location of where our API is being integrated from. What we know about is, let's say you're using Firebase, your app is on Play Store, your app is on App Store. App Store does the whole analytics for you, right? Play Store does the whole analytics for you, right? Firebase lets you know where your apps is downloaded. What if the location of the person integrating your API? Has anybody done it before? Have anybody done it before?
As in the actual developer?
Yes. The person that is integrating your API. You build something, it's on Swagger Docs, you send it out to somebody. How will you know if the person that is consuming your API is in India? Is there a way we can know? Do we build it? Do we build it inside the API? Let's be honest. We don't. We don't build it. Nobody does it. Nobody has that time. The only thing we do is analytics. We get to know downloads, right? But the main consumption of the API, I mean the integration, where the person will call HTTP, kiniko. You know what I mean, right? Nobody does that. What we know is that the person send, the server is down, 400, 500. Person will call back an engineer on Slack, say, try it again. I don't push them. Tell her they make it merge them. They never merge them. Stop. He's working on my... That's what we care about. Exactly. That's the thing. That's what we care about. So what matters is that whenever we are building this, to pay attention, especially when I've worked for a company in Web3 where we did, I'm not meant to be exposing stuff like this. Okay, so during the NFT time, you know NFT time, when there was surge in NFT, right? So I worked for Mutant H Camel, so for some guys in Australia. And when they were minting, why people were coming into the Discord channel? More than 1,000 people that came into that Discord channel were coming there to pull down the server. They were coming there not to pay for the gas fee. They weren't even paying for gas fee. They were just coming there to find a way to bypass what we had on OpenSea. I'm being honest with you. And some of them succeeded. Some of them succeeded. And the reason was because I wasn't even paying attention. I was like, building this, make you pay my money, make I go. That's exactly how I was building it. Those guys, they minted, they got the money they wanted, but at the same time, they had a major loss as well. More than 1,000 people. Developers like you and I. You know, it's one thing for you to, there's something I used to tell people. We are developers and we work for big companies, right? There's some developers that as good as you are, they don't work for companies. The people that is building Hush Puppy that was doing all of those stuff he was doing, it was developers that was building those stuff for him, right? You know, right? Let's be honest. Yes. It's developers that build it. The people that watch Udemy. Most of them were in the same boot camp with you. Most of them were in the same 3MTT cohort. Yes, that's the very honest truth. They now choose their path. And you know, they make more money more than us now. I don't even know if I need to switch. I'm thinking about switching. Next slide. So another thing is Play Store integrity and app attest. This is the most important thing. So for mobile developers, which the section is focused on, when you don't have app attest in iOS, whenever you push an app, there is no way you can know. Do you know people used to hijack App Store, as in Play Store? I don't know if you used to watch all these sci-fi movies or stuff related to that, where you have code you've written, you push on cPanel, and then somebody has hijacked, somebody has made changes to the code. You used to hear those things are fictions, right? But we used to hear it, right? But if you don't have app attest, you won't know when any stuff that is being pushed is being signed by you. You won't get to know about it. Somebody can maybe hijack, do any stuff they want to do, and push something that is not being signed by you. So another one is this app integrity and API safeness. This doesn't work again. It's been replaced by this. So one thing that you should pay attention to is that apps can always be reverse engineered. And when you push the binary version of an app, the APK, the IPA or whatever that you push to the public, most people download it to their devices. Most people download it to their devices, send it to their Mac, and send it to tools like, what's the name of that tool? Most people use, just a minute. I think I wrote down the tools most people use. Give me a second. Or should I mention it? Let me leave it so that if you want to do it, you do it yourself. So most people use tools like that to reverse engineer your app, to decompile it, to get exactly what you have. The same way you have your code on the folders, the stuff, and everything written like that, the same way you structured it. If there are no like safety stuff you positioned, encryption, authentication, not hard coding your API keys, like if you go home or anytime you're less busy, as I mentioned, go to GitHub, type in Gemini API key or OpenAI API key. You see tons of them on GitHub. Tons and tons of them on GitHub. So if you don't do all of this stuff, you don't get to like rename your symbols or encrypt your strings, and it'll just be like that. So that's another side. So because of time, let's go to the next slide. So this is for the backend guys, the tokens. So you know about rotating tokens, right? Also expiring them. I had a talk with a founder I was building with, and she told me that she wants us to build an app that the section doesn't expire. Wait. She doesn't want anybody to be logged out. Wow. She wants it to be forever, like, let me put it this way. No, let me put it this way, where it will be sweet. She wants it that when you log in, you don't get to be logged out except you log out by yourself. So she doesn't want the section to be expiring. I smiled. I thought that is possible. I thought that is even by default. I don't need to do anything. So that's the problem. So if the section is not expiring, that means the token expiration the backend engineer has done will not work. The person will always be in section, right? So the person can always access everything they want to access, right? The token doesn't expire. So if the person is calling, let's say, person is calling an API that is like, let's say the API is facebook.com. Let's say that's what the URL is like. And then person wants to access /users. And let's say there's a token you need to pass. And that token is being gotten whenever you sign in. If the person is always in section, the token the person used 9 months ago will be what he's currently using. If you don't do any rotation, even if you do the rotation, that's why I'm talking to both backend engineers and mobile engineers. So if Christian had rotation keys, is rotating the keys, and the backend engineer is not doing anything that maybe prevents this section or stuff relating to that, is maybe using local storage to say, or using block, or Riverpod, or using a state management to when somebody is logged in, you store the token, and then you get to like know this person is logged in, this person is not logged in. So when the person, maybe the app is in foreground, or the app is dismissed, or the app gets killed, the person come back again, you're always having the mindset that the person is logged in till the person press the logger button. And maybe you try to do it again. Most of us newbies, we try to do it again, and then the API is not going. You'll be like, you call the guy told you he's in the gym. You'll be like, I think it's because of this token. You remove the token, and then you will not even remember. You push it without making consideration to this token. There's a reason it was being placed. You feel like your API request is not going, right? You might be getting 404, 504, maybe something that has to do with not authorized. You feel like the backend guy will tell you it is working, and the funny part is that you might not even screenshot. You might even screenshot what you're getting on your terminal to show the guy, because you want to show the guy, show you be Abba. You know what, like, you get me, right? Most of the times, we are not, I won't say we are not humble. Most of the times, when there is no good collaboration between a backend engineer and a mobile engineer, the mobile engineer gets to build rubbish. That's the truth. We get to feel like it's not working. Do you get? I'm not getting a response. It's not giving me what I want. It might not be giving you what you want because of the security the backend engineer placed on it. I don't know if you're getting me. And most people won't communicate very well. I used to be like that. That's the truth. You know, it takes, when you want to correct somebody, or when you want to tell somebody not to do, just like when I tell people not to do fraud, you see how I was telling you, right? I had 3 good chances, assuming I wanted to do fraud. I had 3 good, like, you know when you want to become a pastor and then somebody is like telling you to come to altar call, right? When I went to Polytechnic, when I was in ND1, one guy who currently has like, I don't know how many houses he has in Lekki. I was using iPhone 4 then. He told me that, then I was doing Java or stuff like that. He told me that when he was using iPhone 4, that he had like 5 million then. That was in my ND1. I was just learning Java. I didn't even know anything. I just learned variable declaration and how to do stuff. The guy to say, Abba, shall you get me? But assuming I came there, one thing that happened is that if you're a developer and you're building for bad, you also get to learn the way we are building for good, right? In my final year, I also had the same thing. I had one guy, one DJ, I won't call his name. The DJ told me the same thing. And all of them were very, very promising. That's why it's good. If you're a Christian or you're Muslim or you whatever you are, it's very good for you to have, what they call it, for you to have a very good mindset, for you to be very intentional. If you care about money, you can make money very fast, right? You know, right? You know, right? No, I'm being very honest with you. You can make money fast. You can build the next maybe 1.6 scheme like that. And then you build it, people like it, then you cash out, then you go your way. You know what I mean, right? Because we are developers, we can build, right? We can build, right? But when you want to be intentional about your act, you be very, very intentional about it. So my time is almost over, but let me check if I can go to the next slide. Okay, move to the next one. Okay, so what I've done is, almost all of this slide, I've used our talks and our gestures to go around it, encryption, certificate spinning, that's very important. Making sure that you also run whatever you are working on, works on HTTP, and it should be on a moderate TLX. So what you can do is, you can get this slide from them, and what I will do is, okay, I think I'll post the slide on LinkedIn, possibly, so you can have access to it. So one thing you should leave this section with is that whatsoever you build, howsoever you work on the back-end implementation of your API, and howsoever the mobile engineer works on the API keys, either exposes the API key, not just by doing whatsoever we do. You can encrypt and not obfuscate. So if you encrypt, and then when you're encrypting, you've encrypted, right? And then the encryption you are doing, you're still passing it into a variable. There are many, this section is not a section that can last for this long. It's a practice. It's something you go on YouTube and type, how can I build a mobile, how can I build an API that is very secured? How can I integrate API? When I was creating content for this section, I was reading a lot, and that's why it can be something we can just discuss in here, okay? Thank you so much, guys. Have a very wonderful day.